Hi everybody, it's Kathy from Huckleberry Herbs and Art, and if you're watching this because you've already seen the finished project, you know more than I do at the moment. I am taking what was a gift biscuit box, and I am altering it with the Graphic 45 Enchanted Forest. I've been dying to do a project with this, and I'll be using, for the beginning, my new pigment frost white ink from Colorbox in the minis. Very excited. All I've done so far was try to stabilize the box because it's just an inexpensive biscuit box that I received as a gift. So last night I actually glued up with my Dry's Clear glue the corners. I made a decision that this was going to be permanent. There was some issues with the corner of the box over here. As you can see, this piece comes across here nice and even, held in well. This piece was raised too high, so it was actually keeping the box from being square when it was closed or closing properly. I cut off that part that was interfering and I glued it, and I'm just going to take the clips. I had that piece of cardboard there so I could press the back up with the clip on this side because there was no way to clip around here. So I'm going to just take the clips off as it's dried, and you can see a biscuit box. The first thing that's annoying me is the bottom. I don't really want to make the bottom fancy, but I also don't want to have the gram weight of the biscuits and treats that were inside on the bottom of the box. So I'm going to start with a 12 by 12 piece of paper that I've just cut down to, it's approximately 9 inches. Along with the Enchanted Forest, they have, as usual, Graphic 45, they have lovely stamps that go with the set. So sorry. And I have been wanting to try these stamps, so I think the castle would be great on the inside. And I have just put Colorbox American Made inks. This is a pigment ink, and pigment ink takes longer to dry, but one of the claims to fame is that the pigment ink will go better as far as trying to get a nice color on a dark cardstock. Very difficult with dye ink because it sinks in. Alright, well, there you go. The white definitely stands out. And I think maybe not pressing as hard as well. And I'm just going for somewhat in the center. Not too much pressure, just touching. Don't want to press the ink out. Checking the image. The white certainly stands out on this black cardstock, and I can definitely make out that it's a castle. There's a lot of really fine little dotted detail with all those stones and bricks. So I'm pretty pleased with that. I could take another one of the, maybe the Enchanted Forest. Let's try it again. And I'm going to ink that up. I just want to make sure that the ink is on there. I'm not pressing hard because I don't want the ink to go down around and then make it blurry. Stamping on black paper is a challenge to begin with, so top or bottom? Might want to sign the bottom, so I'll put it up here on the top. And this is great because it's got a little holder here. Very nice. There's my Enchanted Forest. And I'm thinking maybe the 4 corners. I like those. Here we go. I think maybe I'll put those in the corner. And again, these are not simple stamps. There's a lot of detail in that stamp, as you can see. And the only reason I'm leaving the camera far away now is so that you can see me inking on the corner, because I thought I'd share with you how I go about inking these on these clarity pads. So I'm thinking maybe this, make sure that's on my stamp pad. One right here. He came out cool. I'm getting glare. Nice. All right. Hopefully that's enough. Hesitating. I'm really pleased with the white ink on this black cardstock. And I'm sure when I use stamps that have simpler forms to them, that it's going to be just great to be able to use this lovely white ink. Very nice. And again, if this was dye ink, it would be sinking into the paper and lightening up and lightening up. But these are holding their color fairly well. So I'm definitely, because these are very foamy, gushy pads, it's very easy to press too hard. So I think better to pat it lightly as I am. And then don't press your stamp too hard either. Try not to wiggle it. Okay, so that's pretty cool on the four corners. And then I can come back here with a white gel pen or something and just sign my name. And that's not bad for the bottom of a box. I'm going to clean my stamps and come back. Alright, the next thing that I'm going to do is I have taken the little piece of black cardstock that was left over from the 12 by 12 and I've cut it into, there was 3 inches left, so 1-inch strips approximately. This is nothing to be picky about. And I'm putting it on the scoreboard so that I can score it around my tripod, so please forgive me. Right down the middle so that I can create these pieces that might remind you of binder pieces for creating your books, but what I'm going to do is use it to seal and stabilize. You know, when you have boxes that you keep small items in and the compartments aren't sealed at the bottom, then the small items run from one square to the next, if that doesn't make sense. Hopefully it will in a moment. Along these edges in here, which I know it's very dark and hard to see, but they are, well, I'm not going to try and stick my finger under, but I can see light through it, put it that way. And all I'm going to do, I'm not going to be picky, this is not meant to be a 6-year project that I'm doing here. I'm just going to do an about that long. And then I'm going to take my Dry's Clear glue with my creased scored black strips, and I'm going to glue them up on both sides. Try to get this right to the edge because I'd rather have a little glue coming out the top. Again, this is a box that might be used for small things, and I don't want anything getting stuck between the top of that paper. So far this is all about just finishing sort of a reconstruction of the box to make it work better for me. A terrible mess with the glue, but luckily I have my wipe right there. And again, the wipe has some dampness, but it's cleaning up the glue. It's helping me to press that in, and the paper will dry. Will I put anything on the bottom? I don't know. But I know that now I have that sealed up. I have it all sealed up now. So I'm going to do this on the whole rest of the box, and I'll be back. Alright, my box is all glued up, and this has caused the inside to be more stable. So I have no reason to worry about little things sneaking underneath to the next box if I decide to put something small in there. And now I'm going to move on to the cover again. I took an 8x8 because I have the 8x8 pad, and this is a lesson in frugality too. I took one of the 8x8 pads. I just love this floral pattern here. Boy, that sounded like Boston, didn't it? Floral pattern. And I cut it in half. and I'm going to cover this basically with two 8x8 sheets that have been divided up along with ribbon and decor to cover the whole box and not waste any of my paper. So I take the Dries Clear glue and put it on the edges. So this is a quick project, and I'm utilizing anything that the box already affords me, such as it's already papered in black and it has gold. Yes, there's some spots that need to be covered, but that's the whole point of the paper, right? I get to cover up the spots I don't want to see. I have a little tiny pencil mark here where I want to place this, and I just need to make sure that it is somewhat straight. Now the box is not perfectly squared, so that's presented a few problems when I go and cut my paper, and I've gone to the trouble of making sure it's perfectly squared. That didn't matter because the box is not perfectly measured. So there's one side down, and you're going to notice it over here. The paper is cut very straight. The box is not so straight, so there'll be a little edge, but I'll probably be covering the edge up. I'll try to stay in frame here for you. Not that it's spectacular watching glue go on. What was the saying? Watching paint dry? Watching glue go on is just another form of watching paint dry, maybe. But I really like watching people put things together. I learn from the process. I try to leave the mistakes in my videos because they are numerous, to be perfectly honest. I'm telling you what I'm doing. So now I'm going to take this gorgeous 8x8, put it in the center. Alright, I think my thing cut out there. So, probably filled with imperfection. There is the cover of the box. I love it. I love that. Okay, I'm going to go get another battery and come back and show you what I'm going to be doing to decorate, and see if I can pull this camera out a little bit so you can see, because the box is rather large. And I have this gorgeous ribbon. Is this brocade ribbon, I think they call it? It looked very medieval to me, and I'm loving it. Right down here on the bottom of the project. Couple things. I'm back and forth about how the edge should go, and one of the reasons is because the ribbon will fray. Well, what I've decided to do is cut this as best I can to the exact length I want. So I'm just gluing this, but as I'm touching it, the fibers are coming up. So what I want to do is seal that edge. And that way, the fibers won't come off of the edge once I get the project, no matter how well or not well my gluing is. And I'm just going to take my finger and I'm going to touch the edge and literally seal the edge of this ribbon. See? Look at that. Fibers coming off of my hand. And I want to stop that from happening. So I'm going to do that to both ends. Just get the glue on there. Get that fiber off and touch. And again, I'm using the Aleene's tacky glue because, again, I'm working with fabric. And when I work with fabric, it's thicker. And I like the way it sticks to the fabric. Okay, so I have let that dry just a couple of minutes. And now I'm going to come back in and I'm going to put the glue on the edge of the box. And I do want to put up a good amount because I want it to soak into the ribbon and really cling. This is the top of the box, so it'll get some handling. I'm also going to put running along the edge of the ribbon, just to make sure that the edge is going to seal down. Just a little bit of glue. And especially on that edge, which is already drying up, which is great because my ribbon is sealed now. If you're working with satin ribbons, people use a candle or a lighter to close off the ends. These ribbons are very thick threaded fiber ribbons, and I'm thinking it's more apt to catch fire, although I could have tried it. The glue works well enough. Alright, very excited about this. So now I'm just going to put my ribbon right here, and I do want it to leave the frame. So I'll manipulate the ribbon to make sure that I have the frame showing. It comes to the ends. It's sealed on the front and somewhat straight. Oh, I think that looks gorgeous. Oh my gosh. What do you think? I just love ribbon like this. But again, and I'm going to go a little bit thinner because I don't know. This is pretty thin ribbon. I don't need globs of glue coming out. And again, oh yeah, this is gonna fight me good. I just want to get, and this might be a place where it may make sense to use a glue gun, but here I am, the old-fashioned way. I might put the last dabs on after I get it on there. Again, I just want to make sure that I've run a slight bead along the edges so that if you run your hand across the box, you don't pull up the ribbon. And attempting not to make a mess, I'm going to place it little by little right along the edge. Again, not on the curve so it doesn't come off, and up against the paper so that the frame is showing. I could have cut the frame down, but I really like the way that the frame has these lovely circles on the corner. I just wanted to make sure that I could see the whole entire cover of the Enchanted Forest paper. And on a box it's great because it'll always be out somewhere where it can be seen. Oh wow, I like this. Okay, so can you see that? Isn't that beautiful? This paper is gorgeous, and I think that these ribbons really fit the tone and quality of the paper. And if I stopped right there, I'd be happy. I would have this gorgeous box sitting there. But I have to cover up the biscuit signs. Alright, so far I have not needed to actually fussy cut anything, although I will tell you that my X-Acto and my Tim Holtz ruler and cutting board and a grid are the way I chose to cut these strips. And I have decided to use two different ones. So using two pieces of paper to get all of these matching items, I actually did end up with two of these and two of these, but I decided I want to see as many of the images on the outside of the box as possible, so I chose the two different ones, and I'm just going to glue those up and get them on the side of the box. So there's the side, and I'll turn it around and do the other side. So I didn't think that you would want to watch me cut all the papers. It was really just a bunch of straight lines. And as I've said, I'm trying to keep this project a simple one. I just want to see the papers. I want to get them on the outside of the box so that I can enjoy them. I, like many of you, have some papers tucked away here and there, but I really am of the frame of mind that you should dig in and use your materials because you bought them because they appealed to you and you pictured projects with them and they're beautiful. And I'm not even taking the time to ink this up. Again, with a quick project, I'm just covering this essentially already done box so that I can enjoy the papers, and then I can think of more projects that I want to do with the papers. Okay, so there's that side, that side. So let me make sure I match these up correctly. I have these two, and I have these two, and I think I want the darker one in the front, and I need to make sure I'm on the front. Okay, so right there, covering up all the biscuits. And I think I'm going to actually start with this one. And this is going to end up going right to the edge. I really had to work on getting the paper so that I didn't have one cut off stamp on the end. So I had to trim it by hairs. So it's going to be an exact type thing. And let me just lift that part up and put this down somewhat centered, but on the edge. And I'm just going to leave that there just for a second and get the other piece up. So yeah, I didn't have 12 by 12, but the 8 by 8s lend themselves to being pieced together when needed. And the 8 by 8 is perfect on the cover of that box. Sometimes I look at the 12 by 12s and I think, you know, that's too much. If you're not doing a layout, I don't want to take the pretty image and put that around. Bring that together to make sure that you can't really see the center where I'm sealing it, or at least that it doesn't jump out at you. Alright, and then it's straight and down they go. Nice. Oh, I'm really enjoying working with this paper. I knew I would. It's just so pretty. And again, here comes my white. I can press nice and smoothly along all the edges. Don't want it coming up. It's not going to damage these gorgeous papers. Oh wow, this is really pretty. I don't know how you're feeling about it, but I'm liking this. Very nice. And you almost can't see my seam where I pieced it together. And again, right on the edge. Careful not to put it upside down. So pretty. Alright. Right there in the center, straight. Okay? And then I've just laid it there so that if I have any issues, I can still get it off. I probably am getting the chipboard for this set. I know I have customers that would like to have it. Okay. Alright, I think this is good. Let me just make sure that's somewhat straight while I have the chance. And down it goes. A little bit of a press. Now the box is not made of wood, it's made of cardboard, so I'm trying to not bend it out of shape. There we go. Oh, this is very lovely. Yeah, I'm really liking this paper so much. I knew I would. It's just so rich before it dries. And the gold and the black are doing it service. Well, I'm really thinking that this is fantastically beautiful. Yeah, I love this. Oh my goodness, too much admiring and not enough working. Okay, so I have more embellishments and I want to put something in the inside of the box and finish it up. Okay, I'll be back.